Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all, wherever you're logging in from. Welcome to the Buddhist Society. I'm here in the Buddhist Society from the shrine room next to the library on the ground floor. And this is the basic meditation class, so it will be exactly that. And just waiting for a few more people to log on. Okay, I think that's probably everyone from the waiting room. So I'm going to start in my usual way here by lighting the candles and some incense. So please bear with me while I do that. So I invite you all just to get into a comfortable sitting position wherever you are, wherever you find yourself in whatever room you are. And just for a moment or two, just ground yourself by making contact with your feet on the floor, or if you're sitting cross-legged on the floor, your ankles and your shins, the points of contact with the floor. And it's always good to start meditation in this way, just by allowing your consciousness to come downwards, down, and make contact with the ground that supports you. So just take a moment or two, and I invite you just to make that contact and just settle yourself down. And in case you don't know me, my name's Richard, and I teach this class along with Colin and Ajahn Subhaddo. And I'll be with you this evening for an hour and a half. And we'll do quite a bit of meditation, and I'll pause in the middle and talk to you, and then we'll have some questions and answers at the end. But for the moment, this is one way to begin a meditation session, and that is just sitting down and settling and grounding yourself. So quite consciously allow your attention to sink. And the invitation, when I say make a contact with the ground that supports you, is to actually feel the sensation. Feel the sensation of sitting here and the contact with the floor. And when you receive that invitation, just notice what you do with it. Where does your mind go? Are you visualizing the contact with the floor? Are you thinking about it? The invitation is to directly sense it. What's the feeling like? And if you can sit reasonably upright, as much we may find ourselves in bodies that have difficulties and challenges, so just do your best to be as reasonably upright. And if you need to be supported, your back against a chair or a cushion, that's absolutely fine. Just get comfortable and ensure that you have a position that you can hold for about 30 minutes or so without getting into too much discomfort. So one of the things I'm going to be emphasizing this evening is this sense of being relaxed and alert at the same time. So meditation, we're often invited to notice, to be awake, alert. But at the same time, we can also relax into that position and into that mind state. So if you sit upright, but then try and just relax into that upright position, this helps us. So next, I invite you to bring your attention to your sitting bones on the chair or the cushion, and just sense the contact, how they're supporting the weight of your torso, and just feel the pressure, feel the touch, and again, just notice what you do with that invitation. Where does your mind go? So it's quite a good idea with these practices to close your eyes. If you're sleepy at all, a half-eyed open position is looking at a blank carpet or the wall is also a good place to be. But this limits the input of information into our system, so it allows us to go inside. So you can close your eyes or have them half open. Find a neutral place for your hands, resting in your lap, one on top of the other, or on your thighs, upturned or downturned. Just a place that feels comfortable, natural, and easy for you. Really, it's just so that you don't have to think about what to do with them. And if you're completely new to practice, just experiment a bit and see what works for you. So the invitation right now is just to get a sense of sitting here on the cushion. So you've got the contact with the floor and the contact with the cushion. And now the invitation is to move your attention to your back. So reasonably upright. Just see if you can place your attention on your spine in particular. So not rigidly straight, and supported if you need that. And just see if you can hold the upright position and relax into it. Now, if relaxation is an issue for you, if it's a problem or a challenge, just think about softening the body. So keeping the spine upright and just softening around it. So we're combining alertness of the upright position and relaxation in the body, in that we're not holding ourselves rigidly. Just feel whatever there is to feel in your back area, the contact with the cushion, or just the sense of sitting here. And now bring your attention to your back, your upper back, your neck and shoulder area. Just notice what tension you might be holding there. And as you do so, see if you can align your neck with your spine and your spine with your pelvis, so that everything's in a nice upright column. Not rigidly straight, but just reasonably upright. And again, see if you can relax into this. Soften the body, soften the muscles, but maintain the upright posture. And then I invite you to feel your head resting on your neck and your neck on your shoulders. Just notice the sense of the weight of your head, your face, back of your head, the crown of your head. And see if you can align it with your spine. And again, just notice what you do with these invitations. Where does your mind go? When I mention parts of your body, the invitation is always to sense them, to feel them. And as you do so, just to keep soft, keep relaxed. So we're bringing awareness and relaxation into our practice. And if your mind goes off on a wander, onto this or that, That's not a problem. Just notice it with kindness and gentleness. Just bring it back to the sensation of that part of your body that you were working with. So just for a moment, bring your attention to the crown of your head. So the opposite end of your body from the feet where we started, the crown of your head. And just for a moment, lengthen a fraction towards the sky. So you're pulling your body, your spine, as upright as you can manage. But at the same time, keep your body soft, not rigid. And notice where your mind goes. So we've worked from the feet right up through the body to the crown of the head. And now I invite you just to feel the whole of your body, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, taking in everywhere we've been, your sitting bones, your back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, your hands, your eyes, the whole of your body. See if you can just take it in. One way of doing this is just to feel the clothes on your skin surface and the air on your hands and your face. So getting a sense of the boundaries of your body. And again, at the same time, keep soft, keep relaxed, and notice what you do with the invitation. Where does your mind go? And where is the direct sensation, the sensation of your body? So we've worked our way upwards through the body, and now we're getting a sense of the whole of our body. And one of the things we may notice as we sit here quietly and still, we may notice that this body moves, this movement caused by the breath. And we can work with that. So again, in just a very relaxed, soft way, I invite you just to pick up the sensation of the movement caused by the breath. So the usual places where people find this is in the abdomen or the chest area, or sometimes at the rim of the nostrils. And if you're really new to practice, just take a moment or two to experiment and see where it impacts most vividly for you. Where is it easiest for you to sense that movement? So many of you who have been practicing a while will know that we leave our breath alone. We don't alter it in any way. We just notice the movement, the sensation of the movement caused by the breath, whilst leaving it completely alone to do what it needs to do. And again, just see if you can soften and relax your body as you bring this awareness to your breath. So noticing what you do with this invitation to notice the breath. Where does your mind go? Are you visualizing the movement? Are you imagining it or thinking about it? Or can you directly experience the sensation? So that's awareness, but keep it soft, keep it gentle, keep the body relaxed. And right here, as we begin our practice, see if you can introduce a sense of kindness for yourself. There's nothing you have to achieve here. There's no goals to be reached. If the mind wanders, that's fine. Just notice it and gently, with kindness, bring it back to the direct sensation of the breath. So keeping soft, keeping relaxed. This in itself is compassion. This is kindness. So we have the alertness of the upright position. We have the alertness of the intention to notice. And we have the relaxation and the softness in the body, in the mind. So just keep noticing where your mind is, noticing how your body is. So please feel free to stretch and move and take a sip of water and adjust your posture. And apologies for that bell ring. I'm not quite used to how it comes out on Zoom. So if it was a bit sudden and loud, I do apologise for that. So well done. So we've done really almost half an hour of meditation there. So if you're new to practice, you can just reflect that actually you've joined in a Sangha and you sat for half an hour. Just to say a few words about what we did there. It's always a good idea. I know many of you are experienced meditators, but some here will be new to practice or relatively new to practice. And it's always a good idea to start in some way that connects you with your body. So this notion of being grounded, so connecting with your feet on the floor, your sitting bones on the cushion or the chair, that sense of physical contact, bringing your attention downwards in your body, is really a very good place to start. So that's always, I think both my colleagues on teaching this class always begin with some form of body scan. And that's an important, useful place for any of us to start our practice. Just getting a sense of sitting here in this body. And one of the things I was emphasizing in that sit we've just done was how in practice it's really a very good idea to see if we can consciously combine that sense of being relaxed and that sense of being alert at the same time. Now, in meditation, we're often told to awaken. The word Buddha means the one who is awake, and a lot of practice is intended to help us into our process of awakening. So alertness and noticing is a really important part of that. But we have other capacities, we have other qualities within us. And that one of these that is relevant here is the capacity to be relaxed and soft and open. And in meditation, one of the things we're moving into or we're engaging with is a process of combining those two qualities. That quality, our capacity to be awake and alert, and that quality to be relaxed and open. Now, for many of us, the sense of being alert and noticing is either something like concentrated over a computer screen or over a book, intensely focused on one thing. And we're not talking really about that, not in this practice. That's a sort of concentration, and there's a sense of tension and rigidity about it. Some people come through life and become hypervigilant. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about just being able to notice in a very easy, relaxed way. And this is where this sense of being relaxed and soft comes into our practice. And if we start by trying or encouraging this in our bodies, this sense of being upright, which promotes the alertness and the capacity to be awake, and the capacity to be relaxed at the same time. Now, for many of us, relaxation is slumped on the settee with our feet up watching TV. And yes, indeed, that is one form of relaxation. But what the meditators of old discovered was that there is a way of integrating these two qualities of mind: the capacity to be alert and awake, and the capacity to be relaxed and soft and open at the same time. So here we are bringing in notions of openness, receptivity, and relaxation helps us with that. When we're very tense and contracted, it's difficult to notice some aspects of our experience. We shut things off. If we're relaxed and soft, indeed compassionate and kind are useful here. They help us to be open and receptive. So we have much more capacity to receive all of our experience. And what we're doing in meditation practice is we're combining these two qualities quite consciously. There is an integrative function at work here. And we start by encouraging the body. And as we all know, there's a very close relationship between mind and body. It's very entwined, entangled. There's an intimate relationship between mind and body. So if we encourage our bodies to be both upright, that's the alert function, and relaxed at the same time, then we encourage our minds to follow in that way. And it's not difficult to see how this is beneficial to practice. It's a useful place to be, just open to all of our experience, wherever it comes from. So whatever's going on for us, we're not blocking it out, we're not shutting it out, we're able to receive it, accept it as it is. So to be open is also to be relaxed. Now, the noticing part, the being awake part, is something that many of us meditators struggle with. For many of us, we come to practice and we're tired, and the first thing we want to do is fall asleep. And it's useful just to notice that and not to block it out. And of course, the sitting upright helps us to actually encourage another state of mind, this state of awakeness. So that's what we're moving into. That's the process. That's one of the things that I wanted to encourage you to bring into your practice, is just that sense of being awake, alert, which gives you the capacity to notice what's going on, not to phase out or zone out, and the capacity at the same time to be relaxed and soft. And I mentioned in that practice at various points how if your mind wanders, if you start going off on your summer holidays or looking at the menu for what you're going to eat for supper tonight, or anything like that, just mind wandering, busy mind, the capacity to treat that in a really relaxed, kind, compassionate way. You haven't failed at meditation. This is natural, normal, and it's worth emphasizing this. And I know if you're an experienced practitioner, you'll have heard this being said over and over again. But many of us will be surprised at how ingrained these self-critical habits are. So repetition of this encouragement, this invitation to be kind and compassionate to yourself in practice is really worthwhile. It's worthwhile hearing, because although many of us hear it, we don't actually hear it. It takes many repetitions for us to unravel habits of mind that go back many, many years, deeply ingrained. So treat yourself kindly, treat yourself compassionately, be gentle with yourself. And this in itself is part of the openness, the softness, the receptivity. So we're going to sit for a bit longer now. We're going to do some more practice. And we're going to work with the breath again. And just to outline some of where we're going is we're going to do a brief body scan again, and then I'm going to invite you to work with the breath. And I'm just going to introduce one or two slight variations on how we might connect with the breath as we do that. So let's move slowly into this. So in the same way that we did before, I invite you now just to connect again with your feet on the floor, or if you're sitting on the floor, your ankles and your shins. And again, in the same way as we worked before, allow your attention to drop. Just consciously from your head downwards. And see if you can feel the direct sensation of the contact with the ground that supports you. And then I invite you to feel your lower legs, your shins, right up to the knees. Just notice what's going on there. Just feel what it is to feel that area. And again, just notice what you do with the invitation. How does your mind interact with it? Are you thinking about that area, visualizing it, or are you directly experiencing the sensation? And then I invite you just to feel your knees. Feel the front of your knee, the patella, and the back of your knee. And then notice your upper legs, your thighs and your hamstrings from the knee to the hips. The contact with the chair or the cushion. And again, just notice what your mind does with the invitation. There's the direct sensation, and there's the mind that thinks about and imagines. And then I invite you to feel your sitting bones on the chair or the cushion, your whole of your pelvic area. Just notice what that sensation is like. And then move your attention to your lower back and your abdomen. You may notice the movement in the abdomen caused by the breath. And then I invite you to move upwards again to your chest area, the middle of your back and upper back. And again, just see if you can pick up the gentle movement caused by the breath. And then I invite you to take in your arms from the shoulders right down to the tips of your fingers, taking in both arms. Just feel what's going on there. Just notice how they feel. Notice your hands in your lap or on your thighs. Now move your attention to your upper chest area, your upper back, your shoulders, the back of your neck. Again, just sense what's going on there for you. Are you carrying any tension in the back of your neck and your shoulder area? Just noticing it. And see if you can soften in that area. And now bring your attention to your head in the same way that we did before, taking in your face at the front, your ears, the sides of your head, and the back of your head. Just feel the weight of it resting on your neck, and see if you can align your head with your neck and your neck with your spine, and your spine with your pelvis, so that everything's in a sort of upright column. And then just relax and soften into that position. And now in this still, quiet body, sitting here on the cushion, I invite you just to pick up the movement caused by the breath. If you're experienced in practice, you'll have a place where it works best for you, where the sense of the breath is most vivid. And if you're relatively new to practice, just see if you can find where it impacts most vividly for you, either the abdomen, the chest area, or sometimes at the rim of the nostrils. And again, notice what you do with this invitation. Where does your mind go? So just to remind you, the invitation is to keep noticing the breath, to keep kind and compassionate towards yourself and anything that arises, and in your body to keep soft and relaxed. One of the things we can do when we're working with the breath is notice just the general energy that the in-breath gives us and the sense of relaxation that the out-breath gives us. Just inside the body, just noticing wherever you are in the body, that sense that comes with the in-breath of awakening, the energy from the in-breath, and the relaxation, the release on the out-breath. So where are you now? You've got the body sitting here, the contact with the floor, the upright but relaxed spine. You have the breath, the movement caused by the breath, the energy on the in-breath, and the sense of relaxation and release on the out-breath. And you have the wandering mind, and that's okay. So I invite you now just to see if you can get a sense of how the in-breath impacts on your body. Just feel the sense of awakening, the sense of energy coursing through your body on the in-breath. And then on the out-breath, just notice that sense of relaxation and release. And if your mind is wandering, if you're getting restless, just notice that with compassion and kindness. And then just gently bring your attention back to the sensation of the breath. And just notice the energy on the in-breath and the sense of relaxation on the out-breath. So please feel free to move and stretch and take a sip of water. So well done, everyone. We've done quite a lot of meditation this evening. Just to recap on where we've been, and if you want to put any questions into the chat, please feel free, or to unmute yourself and ask a question, please feel free. And while you're thinking of any questions, I'll just sort of say a few words about what we've done so far. We started with a body scan, and I encouraged you to move your attention into your body, and beginning by dropping your attention downwards into the soles of your feet or the points of contact with the floor. And then we worked upwards through the body, noticing the breath as we did. And that took us really the first half hour. And then after I said a few words, we worked again in that way, in a little bit more detail. And then we moved into working with the breath in more detail. And I encouraged you to notice, firstly, the sensation of the movement caused by the breath, and then just the sense of general energy that the breath brings to the body. And quite often, when we've been practicing for a while and working with the breath, you get very accustomed just to noticing the movement. But the movement of the breath, the sensation of the movement, is only one aspect. The breath is multifaceted. There are many ways of connecting with it. And one of the useful additions to my practice that I've been taught recently was to work with this just general sense of energy. So not particularly contacting the breath either in the abdomen or the chest area or at the rim of the nostrils, as many of us have been taught to do. But having that in mind, having an awareness of that, but at the same time allowing oneself just to feel the general impact of the breath throughout the whole of the body, just what it does on the in-breath, a sense of aliveness or awakening. And this very much comes back to the theme that I was talking about in the middle of this session, this combination of alertness and relaxation. Because if the in-breath brings us this sense of awakening, something new coming into our system, and the out-breath is to do with relaxation, a softening, a release. And of course, in the Dharma, letting go and release is very much a major part of the process. But in the breath, you have both practices going on at the same time. So I just thought that would be one interesting addition to practice that you can make if you've been at it for quite a while. And it may not come easily at first just to get that sense, but if you stick with it, just noticing what the breath does to the whole of the body rather than just one specific part. So it's a much more sort of open awareness, a wider frame of reference, if you like. But again, at the same time, you're not departing from any of them, the main principles of practice. You're using the body, you're using body awareness, and you're working with the body in order to generate this sense of awakening. So that's the other point I wanted to make, really, in this evening is The body is the first port of call, really, with practice, and many of you will know that. But it's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to practice with it. So yeah, always start with the body. I can't see any questions in the chat, so I will ask a question that was for you that was recently asked at a session I was leading, and it goes like this: it's I have difficult breathing. I have a touch. This is the questioner was saying to me. I have a touch of asthma, and the breath is really quite problematic for me at various points during the day. How can I practice using the breath? And I guess this is really a question that you can expand into. For many of us, we have difficult bodies. As we get older, we are no longer 21, and we have bodies that reflect that. Things don't work quite as well as they used to. It's important just to be kind and compassionate with oneself when whatever condition one finds oneself in. And working with the breath when it's a challenge and problematic is it's an interesting question, because so much of practice is based upon using the breath as an object for meditation. And if it's problematic, this presents a major problem for many people in practice. But as I think most of my colleagues on this class would say, you don't have to work with the breath. The breath is only one of the possible meditation objects. Almost any of the places we've been to in the body scans we've done this evening could be used over and over again in place of the breath. It's just this sense of working with an aspect of the body that is the important point. It doesn't have to be the breath. And again, there are other ways of working that use the breath, but not in a direct way. I know Colin sometimes talks of this in this practice, when he encourages people to use the mantra Buddho, Bud-O. So you can say Bud on the in-breath and O on the out-breath. And Buddho literally translates as something like awakening. And so you're using a mantra that actually encourages you to be awake. So that's one way around a problematic breath. Was there something in the chat that I just spotted? Yes, there is. Yes. Thank you, whoever put it there. The question is, and thank you, whoever put this in the chat. When you body scan, do you need to label the parts? And is it individual parts, or are you building up a picture, keeping in mind previous scanned parts? Oh, that's a great question. Okay, I'll read it again. When you body scan, do you need to label the parts? And is it individual parts, or are you building up a picture, keeping in mind previous scanned parts? It's a great question. Okay. Well, firstly, you don't need to actually label the parts verbally. You can move through the body in a non-verbal way, just using awareness. Although for many of us, I would think it would help initially to actually label them. So, yeah, you could actually say feet, ankles, shins, knees, and so on and so forth. You could say that, but you don't need necessarily to do that. That's not an essential requirement. The main point of the body scan is the sensation. It's the awareness. It's placing your attention on a particular part of the body. So you could literally move through the body I usually start at the feet and work upwards. And if I'm doing a long scan, I'll work up and then down again. If I'm just, starting practice and grounding my attention in my body, I'll just go one way. And you don't need to label it verbally. You can just use your awareness. So you can work, once you get familiar with the route that feels comfortable for you to take, you can literally just work with awareness. Labeling helps at first, but you don't have to label. So that's what I would say to that part of the question. The other part of the question is, are you building up a picture keeping in mind previous scanned parts? Well, my answer to that is initially, no, you're not. You're working with one part at a time. You're practicing, you're honing your awareness in on one particular facet of your body. And you leave that, you drop it and move on to the next part. That's how I would work initially. But you will notice that this evening, in both the body scans we did at the beginning of each of those 2 sits we did, when we got to the end of the body scan, I did say to you, and now just get a general sense of the whole of your body. And I think that's an important part of the body scan practice. So my answer is to that second part of the question is, no, don't build up an entire picture to begin with. Work individually with different parts of the body. And the reason for that is that it's actually much simpler just to keep your attention on one part and then move on. A body sense of the whole of your body at the end of a body scan, just noticing where you've been, is probably a good idea as well. Now, that was a nuanced answer, but just to recap to both parts of the question, you don't need to label, but it can help to begin with. It really is a non-verbal exercise, and it's about awareness, attention, actually the sensation of that particular part of the body. That's the answer to the first bit. And to recap on the second bit is, I would initially just do one part of the body at a time and then drop it, move on to the next part. And then at the end, yeah, fine, have a general sense of the whole of your body. So I hope that was a more clear answer. It's a great question, so thank you whoever put that in the chat. Okay. Yes, and just to mention one other aspect of working with the breath, I was encouraging people that have been practicing for a while, that one of the things they can do is just get a general sense of the energy of the breath. And that I make I brought particularly into this evening session, because this evening I was focusing on this sense of being alert and relaxed at the same time. And I think that the general energy of the breath can help one really connect with those 2 aspects that we have within us. Just that sense of being alert and awake, and that sense of being relaxed at the same time. And just one final point on relaxation and alertness is that there's some very good neuroscience research coming out on this, where they attach electrodes to the heads of meditators and detect their brainwave patterns. And then now the neuroscientists are actually coming up with some really good evidence that meditators actually are combining both the brainwave patterns of alertness at the same time as the brainwave patterns of relaxation. So we've got the science now to show what the early Buddhists, practitioners, were saying in their texts many, many thousands of years ago. So it's almost 8 o'clock. I've just got a little quote to you for you to go home with from Thich Nhat Hanh. So this is from Thich Nhat Hanh. All the wonders of life are already here. They're calling you. If you can listen to them, you will be able to stop running. What you need, what we all need, is silence. Stop the noise in your mind for the wondrous sounds of life to be heard. So thank you, Thich Nhat Hanh, for that. I'm going to close this evening just with the closing homage, and just to thank you all very much for joining this online Sangha and for sitting so diligently during this evening's session. The closing homage. The Lord, the perfectly enlightened and blessed one, I render homage to the Buddha, the Blessed One. The teaching so completely explained by him, I bow to the Dharma. The Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well, I bow to the Sangha. So thank you all very much for joining us, and I wish you well.